Hello and welcome back to the channel. Hope you're doing well on this afternoon. Today we'll be discussing transfer news, so do hit that like button if you are interested, and don't forget to subscribe if you are new. Of course, we'll be discovering Gabriel, the rumors around Raul Jimenez, and a couple of updates on the Jadon Sancho transfer. So if you are interested in that, hit that like button. So Gabriel dos Santos, I can't pronounce his last name, but who is he? He's a player from the French league. He's Brazilian. He's 22 years old. So on the surface, this seems like a good signing. I don't know what makes him so special, so somebody can educate me in the comments down below. I think long term, you can always get rid of him if it doesn't work out. You don't have to give him a 5-year contract. Plus, you're not losing that much money, especially in a market like this, if he doesn't sign for the team. So I think it's a pretty good deal for Manchester United. And compared to everything else out there, I don't know if it's the best deal, but I definitely do think that there's something in it. So, yeah. Moving on then, obviously Ake's gone to City. Unfortunate. Manchester City keep making these quick fire signings. It's really annoying. But he's gone and he's out of the works for us. 40 million. Pretty pricey. I don't know if I would have been okay with Manchester United paying that, but then again, it is what it is. You got to pay what the club wants. Not much to say on Ake going to City, of course. But moving on then to Raul Jimenez at Manchester United. First of all, I'm going to say that this deal doesn't make as much sense as people make it out to seem. Raul Jimenez is a good striker. He's a striker who probably deserves and could play in a top 4 team consistently. And I don't think he'd want to come to Old Trafford and sit on the bench, especially not for 15 million quid. I think that's ridiculous. A lot of people comparing him to Ighalo, saying that he could be our next Ighalo. He could be the old striker who comes in to do a job, who has the experience necessary to play consistently when he needs to. And I just think, look, if he wants to come and sit on the bench, if that's what he wants for his career, fantastic. But I don't think that's what he wants, and I just don't think this deal makes much sense. Plus, he's 29 going on to 30. Do we really want to be signing 30-year-olds at our club, even if he's sitting on the bench? Like, if Martial gets injured a season from now, are we going to really rely on a 30-year-old? You know, it's a no from me from all angles. Not just because of the price, but because of his age, and also because of the fact that I think the reports of him going to Juventus, maybe they aren't the most credible, but it's possible. I can see him going to an Italian league for a hefty price because I think he's that good. I think teams would pay around 60 to 70 million from him, foreign teams that is, but we'll just have to wait and see how that story develops. Of course, there was a report yesterday, or I think it was 2 days ago from the time of this video being uploaded, that we were in for Raul Jimenez and we had actually bid 30 million quid. That's obviously false, and if it was true, it's not going to happen now anyways. So, and then the big one, the signing of the summer, Jadon Sancho. The recent reports from The Independent is that a 60 million bid has gone in for Jadon Sancho, which, contrary to Dortmund's initial ludicrous fee of 120 million quid, it sounds like a bargain. It really does. And I tell you what, I think 60 million is misleading. I think there will be add-ons, bonuses based on appearances, goals, assists, that type of thing, and a lot of installments involved in the deal to increase the value that Dortmund are getting out of it. So I don't think he'll actually sign for a rounded figure of 60 million, but thereabout. And if we do get him for that much, all I'll say is, listen, mate, that's a bargain. And even in this market, that's a bargain, because I would say Sancho, even in this market, is 80, 90 million quid easily. You know, if Maguire costs 80 million, then Sancho definitely costs 80 million in a market like this, especially. So I think it's a lot better than 120 million quid. I think obviously Jadon Sancho is a player that we desperately need at Manchester United, regardless of what the price is. We need a right winger desperately. Unlike in the midfield position, you know, we don't have that many right wingers. We just don't have that many bodies. And even the bodies that are there, some people argue aren't good enough yet. So yeah. Reports coming out from Sky Sports that Manchester United have cooled interest in Jadon Sancho, which I kind of believe because of the rumored 80 million pound price that's been floating all over the media, in the Independent, in the Mirror, in the Sun. These are all like UK outlets. And I think, look, all I'll say with regards to Jack Grealish is, I would never, ever take Jack Grealish for 80 million quid if Van de Beek was available for half the price. You know, I think they're just as good if Van de Beek's not better. You know, the only thing that Grealish has on Van der Beek is that he's played in the Premier League and Van der Beek hasn't. But even then, I'd be like, Van der Beek's played in the Champions League, so it's really irrelevant to me. If you can play against Bayern Munich, Barcelona, PSG, and all those other big clubs, you can play in the Premier League, in my opinion. But you know, Jadon Sancho's not from the Premier League either. So you know, Fabinho wasn't from the Premier League before he came to the Premier League. Before he went to Liverpool, there's a lot of players who weren't from the Premier League who came here, who came to the Premier League and performed exceptionally well. And I think Van der Beek would be one of those players, especially at 40 million quid. Like that's a steal. And I think for Grealish to be priced at 80 million, all I would say is I don't know what Aston Villa's intentions are, but I question them because it's very similar to being forced by the board to sell a player on FIFA. And the only way you're going to keep them, besides negotiating a new contract, which you can't anyways, because if a player hands in a transfer request, the game doesn't allow you to negotiate a new transfer, is to price them out of a move. So whenever a team decides to approach you with an offer, the price you want for the player, you make it exceptionally high so that the AI just kind of storms out of the room or says, no, this is ridiculous, we're not paying that. And basically you price a player out of a move, you make him too expensive for anybody to afford, so he has to stay at the club. I think that is kind of what Aston Villa, it looks like what they're doing, because if they genuinely believe anyone will actually pay 80 million for Jack Grealish in this market, I think they must be smoking more weed than Bob Marley and Snoop Dogg combined. That's just my personal opinion. I think 60 and 50, even 60 and 70 would be pushing it, but 60 or 50, I would say that's a fair deal. But 80, it's a no from me, because that's 80 million for Jack Grealish, and then like 80 million for Jadon Sancho. That's 160 million quid on two players, and you haven't even sold anyone yet. So it's a no from me. Moving on to our final talking point of the video, the South American flop, I like to call him, Alexis Sanchez. His wage bills alone over the course of a calendar year result in an 8 million fee for Manchester United. I cannot stress how important it is to get rid of this guy's wages and how much it would benefit us as a team. I think Alexis Sanchez, it doesn't fit into our system. I think he's old. I think he's done at the highest Premier League level, at least. I don't think he's a top 4 player in the Premier League anymore. At least not in our team and under our system, because in our system, as an attacking player, you need a lot of pace, and Alexis Sanchez has seemed to have lost more than just a yard of pace ever since he moved from Arsenal. So it's a no from me. I think mentally there's something wrong with him when he was playing at United. I just think it's not there. I don't think he wanted to come to Manchester United. I think he preferred to move to City, but because City didn't want to, the deal that City wanted to strike with Arsenal was not the same as the deal we were giving them. The only option he had was to either stay at Arsenal for another season or come to us. And that's just a recipe for disaster. That's just a calamity waiting to happen. But it's like the lesser of the two evils, if that makes sense. And I think with Alexis Sanchez, it's not only a physical problem. I think there's still a good player in there, and I think he'll do well in the Italian league. But I just think it was never going to work at Manchester United on a mental level, you know, because he just doesn't seem to be passionate about the club and the vision and the project that we're trying to build with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. So kudos to Alexis Sanchez. I hope he moves on, because, man, that wage bill alone, I'll take a bag of Doritos for him if we can get rid of that wage bill alone. So, yeah, long-term deal being negotiated between him and Inter Milan. Inter Milan are obviously interested in getting him long-term. Conte wants him for some odd reason. All these Premier League rejects are just going to the Serie A, fam. So, Eriksen, Ashley Young, now Alexis Sanchez. I don't know who else has gone there. But if Ashley Young can do well in the Serie A, so can Alexis Sanchez. That has been your Manchester United transfer news, transfer talk with TripleM, rather. And yeah, hit that like button if you enjoyed that. Comment down below. Tell me what your opinions are on the recent Manchester United stories and some of the players we've discussed in today's video. And of course, do subscribe if you are new. Otherwise, enjoy the rest of your day. Peace out.